Strategic implications. New report reveals China's Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower station could ignite conflict in South Asia. Introduction. The recent approval of the Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower station by China marks a significant escalation in the ongoing geopolitical tensions in South Asia, particularly involving China, India, and Bangladesh. Positioned near the Great Bend of the Yarlung Zangbo River in Tibet, this ambitious project is poised to generate approximately 300 billion kilowatt-hours of electricity annually, making it the largest hydropower project in the world. However, the implications of this development extend far beyond energy generation, potentially igniting conflict over water resources, environmental concerns, and regional stability. Geopolitical landscape. The Yarlung Zangbo River, known as the Brahmaputra in India and the Jamuna in Bangladesh, serves as a crucial water source for millions of people in South Asia. The river basin's geopolitical significance is heightened by the absence of a comprehensive multilateral treaty governing its shared use. This lack of a binding framework exacerbates fears among downstream countries regarding China's unilateral control of the river and its potential to manipulate water flow for geopolitical leverage. India's concerns were articulated shortly after China's approval of the dam on December 25, 2024. The Indian government emphasized the need for dialogue with China to address water security and environmental impacts. The backdrop of the Doklam standoff in 2017, during which China unilaterally halted hydrological data sharing with India, underscores the fragility of existing arrangements and the potential for escalating tensions. Legal and environmental concerns. China's decision to proceed with the Yarlung Zangbo hydropower station raises serious legal questions regarding compliance with international water laws. Under the 1997 Convention on the Law of the Non-Navigational Uses of International Watercourses, states are obligated to cooperate and prevent significant harm to other riparian countries. China's failure to notify or consult India and Bangladesh about the dam's construction contravenes these principles, raising alarms about potential violations of international norms. Environmental concerns are similarly pressing. The dam's construction is expected to alter sediment flows and water quality downstream, significantly impacting agriculture, fisheries, and the livelihoods of millions. Furthermore, the seismic risks associated with constructing a megadam in one of the world's most earthquake-prone regions cannot be overlooked. Historical seismic activity raises concerns about the dam's structural integrity, potentially leading to catastrophic failures that could devastate downstream communities. Seismic risks and historical context. The Yarlung Zangbo's location within a seismically active region heightens the risks associated with the dam. Historical records indicate that the area has experienced significant earthquakes, such as the 1950 Assam Tibet earthquake, which measured 8.6 on the Richter scale. Experts have warned that a catastrophic failure of the dam could result in catastrophic flooding, endangering millions of people and causing widespread destruction. Additionally, the potential for climate change-induced glacial melting further complicates the situation. The Brahmaputra River's source, the Angsai Glacier, is vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, which could lead to unstable glacial lakes and catastrophic flooding downstream. This unpredictability poses a significant risk to the region's ecological balance and the livelihoods of those who depend on the river. The need for multilateral cooperation. Given the multifaceted challenges posed by China's Yarlung Zangbo hydropower station, analysts argue for the urgent need for a multilateral framework to address the concerns of downstream nations. India, Bangladesh, and Bhutan must collaborate to advocate for international engagement and environmental assessments to safeguard their interests. The historical context of China's water governance strategies in the region, particularly its management of the Mekong River, serves as a cautionary tale. China's construction of multiple dams on the upper Mekong has led to severe droughts and ecological destabilization in downstream countries. The Yarlung Zangbo project could similarly disrupt the delicate ecological balance of the Brahmaputra basin, amplifying tensions and potentially leading to conflict. Conclusion. The strategic implications of the Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower Station extend far beyond energy production. The project poses significant risks to regional stability, exacerbating existing tensions between China, India, and Bangladesh. As the upper riparian state, China wields considerable control over water resources, leaving downstream countries with limited leverage. To mitigate the risks associated with China's unilateral actions, it is imperative for India, Bangladesh, and Bhutan to advocate for a robust multilateral framework that addresses environmental concerns, promotes transparency, and ensures compliance with international legal standards. Without meaningful dialogue and cooperation, the Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower Station could emerge as a flashpoint for conflict in South Asia, with far-reaching consequences for millions who depend on the river for their livelihoods. In summary, the approval of the Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower Station represents a critical juncture in South Asian geopolitics. The interplay of water rights, environmental sustainability, and regional stability necessitates urgent attention and action from all stakeholders involved. The approval of China's Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower Station is poised to reshape the geopolitical landscape of South Asia, particularly igniting tensions between China, India, and Bangladesh. The project, located near a strategic bend of the Yarlung Zangbo River in Tibet, is expected to generate a staggering 300 billion kilowatt-hours of electricity annually, significantly affecting the ecology and water flow in the downstream regions, which are crucial for the livelihoods of millions. Counterintuitive information. 1. Energy generation versus water security. While the dam promises to provide immense energy resources, it paradoxically threatens the water security of neighboring countries. The expectation is that this energy boon could lead to a regional economic uplift. Yet the potential for conflict over reduced water availability and altered ecosystems could destabilize the region instead. 2. China's unilateral control versus international law. Although China's approach to the Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower Station appears to be a strategic move to bolster its energy independence, it contradicts international water laws that call for cooperation among nations sharing water resources. This unilateral endeavor raises questions about the sustainability of China's water governance strategy and its long-term regional relationships. 3. Seismic risks as a strategic concern. The construction of the dam in a seismically active region could be viewed as a risk to infrastructure. However, it may also serve as a potential leverage point in geopolitical negotiations. If the dam were to fail, the resultant flooding could be catastrophic for downstream nations, leading to the perception that China could wield water management as a tool of power, even if such outcomes are not in its long-term interest. 4. Environmental impacts versus economic development. The narrative often suggests that large-scale infrastructure projects like the Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower Station are primarily for economic growth. However, the potential environmental degradation, such as altered sediment flow and the impact on local fisheries, could undermine the ecological foundations necessary for sustainable development in India and Bangladesh, raising the question of whether short-term gains are worth the long-term ecological consequences. 5. Historical context of water governance. The current tensions over the Yarlung Zangbo project resonate with historical grievances surrounding water governance in Asia. While the focus is often on current geopolitical dynamics, understanding the historical context of upstream-downstream relations reveals that similar disputes have occurred in the past on other river systems such as the Mekong, suggesting that these conflicts are part of a broader pattern of resource management issues rather than isolated incidents. 6. India's limited leverage. Despite being a downstream nation, India's position may not necessarily entail stronger bargaining power in discussions. The historical context shows that while India has expressed concerns, its ability to influence Chinese decision-making processes is limited, leading to a paradox where the country must rely on diplomacy and international advocacy rather than direct leverage. 7. Call for multilateral cooperation versus bilateral tensions. There is a widespread consensus regarding the need for multilateral frameworks to manage shared water resources. Yet the persistent bilateral tensions, especially between China and India, create a paradox where the very entities that need to collaborate are often in conflict.
This disconnect highlights the challenge of turning rhetoric into action.
As nations prioritize national interests over cooperative agreements. 8. Manipulation of water as a strategic weapon. While the potential for China to use water flow manipulation as a weapon during conflicts is often considered a hypothetical scenario, it reflects a deeper concern about the militarization of water resources. This notion challenges the conventional view of water as a shared resource and instead positions it as a potential tool for geopolitical maneuvering, potentially leading to further conflicts rather than cooperation. 9. Global climate change implications. The discussions surrounding the Yarlung Zangbo project often focus on regional dynamics. However, the implications of global climate change on water resources must also be considered. As climate change exacerbates water scarcity and alters hydrological cycles, the competition for water resources could intensify beyond the Brahmaputra basin, challenging existing frameworks and necessitating a broader view of international water governance. Conclusion. The Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower Station embodies a complex interplay of energy aspirations, environmental risks, geopolitical tensions, and international law. As the project unfolds, its implications may extend beyond immediate regional conflicts, influencing broader discussions on resource management, climate change, and international cooperation. The counterintuitive insights reveal that while the pursuit of energy independence is a rational goal for China, the potential repercussions on regional stability and international relations could yield unforeseen challenges that necessitate a re-evaluation of water governance strategies in South Asia. The recent approval of China's Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower Station has major implications for South Asia, potentially igniting conflict among China, India, and Bangladesh. While much of the discourse centers around the immediate geopolitical ramifications and environmental concerns, several critical aspects may be overlooked, yet are significant in understanding the broader context of water security, international law, and regional stability. 1. The absence of a comprehensive treaty framework. One of the most critical elements, often underestimated, is the lack of a comprehensive multilateral treaty governing the Brahmaputra River basin. Unlike the Mekong River, which has a framework involving all riparian states, the Brahmaputra lacks binding agreements that would obligate China to communicate and consult with India and Bangladesh regarding its water management practices. This absence not only heightens tensions but also enables unilateral actions by China, which can lead to significant downstream impacts. Significance. This situation underscores a fundamental issue of power dynamics in transboundary water governance. Without a formal treaty, riparian states are left vulnerable to unilateral decisions by upstream nations, which can significantly affect their water security and ecological balance. The absence of cooperation mechanisms increases the risk of misunderstandings and conflicts, especially in times of drought or flooding. 2. Legal violations and international norms. The report highlights China's failure to adhere to international water laws, specifically the 1997 Convention on the Law of Non-Navigational Uses of International Watercourses. The principle of prior notification and consultation is a cornerstone of this convention. However, China's actions in proceeding with the dam without sufficient dialogue with India and Bangladesh are a clear violation. Significance. The legal implications extend beyond immediate regional disputes. They set a precedent for how water-sharing agreements are honored or ignored in other parts of the world. This could embolden other nations to act unilaterally, undermining international norms and potentially leading to a cascade of conflicts over shared water resources globally. 3. Seismic risks and structural integrity. The dam's location in a seismically active region raises serious concerns regarding its structural integrity. Historical seismic events in the area illustrate the potential for catastrophic failure, which would have devastating consequences for millions living downstream. Significance. This aspect is often overshadowed by geopolitical discussions but is crucial in evaluating the long-term viability of such large-scale infrastructure projects. A failure could not only lead to immediate humanitarian disasters but also exacerbate geopolitical tensions, as affected countries may blame China for insufficient safety measures and poor management of a shared resource. 4. Environmental impacts on local communities.
The ecological implications of the Yarlung Zangbo Dam project are profound, particularly concerning sediment flow and the livelihoods of communities dependent on the Brahmaputra River. Changes in sediment transport can adversely affect agriculture and fisheries, which are crucial for the economies of India and Bangladesh. Significance: the local communities' voices and their dependence on the river for sustenance are often overlooked in high-level geopolitical discussions. Environmental degradation not only threatens food security but can also lead to social unrest, further complicating the geopolitical landscape. As livelihoods are jeopardized, local populations may turn against their governments, blaming them for lack of action or inadequate responses to external threats. 5. Potential for water as a geopolitical weapon. The possibility that China could manipulate water flow as a geopolitical tool during times of conflict or crisis is a significant concern that requires deeper exploration. Water scarcity can be weaponized, leading to severe humanitarian implications. Significance: this potential transforms the conversation around water security into one about national security. The ability to control a crucial resource like the Brahmaputra could give China an upper hand in negotiations or conflicts, making it imperative for India and Bangladesh to develop strategies to counteract such tactics. This necessitates not just bilateral dialogues but also regional cooperation to develop countermeasures against potential water weaponization. 6. Historical context of China's water governance. Understanding China's historical approach to water governance in the region, particularly its strategies along other river systems like the Mekong, reveals a pattern of unilateralism and strategic control over shared water resources. Significance: this historical context is essential for comprehending current tensions and anticipating future behavior. Recognizing the patterns in China's management of transboundary rivers can provide insights for India and Bangladesh in formulating their diplomatic and strategic responses. 7. The role of climate change. The report briefly touches on the impacts of climate change, particularly glacier melting, which affects river flow dynamics. However, the intersection of climate change with the Yarlung Zangbo project is a complex issue that deserves further attention. Significance: climate change exacerbates existing tensions by altering water availability, which can lead to increased competition for resources. As glaciers melt and weather patterns shift, the reliability of water sources will be further compromised, making cooperative management even more critical. The implications of climate change must be factored into any future agreements or negotiations regarding the Brahmaputra River basin. Conclusion: the Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower Station stands at the intersection of energy production, international law, environmental sustainability, and geopolitical strategy. While the immediate concerns focus on India and Bangladesh's reactions, a deeper analysis reveals a complex web of implications that could reshape regional dynamics in South Asia for years to come. Addressing these overlooked aspects is essential for developing a comprehensive and sustainable approach to water governance in the region, fostering cooperation rather than conflict and ensuring the security and livelihoods of millions dependent on these vital water resources. 1. Geopolitical tensions and strategic rivalry. The approval of the Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower Station underscores the intensifying geopolitical rivalry between China and India, particularly regarding water resources. This situation has the potential to escalate into conflict. Given the historical context of territorial disputes and the absence of a comprehensive multilateral treaty governing the Brahmaputra River basin, the unilateral control exercised by China over the river's flow not only threatens India's water security but also raises alarm bells for Bangladesh, highlighting the urgent need for a collaborative framework to address these tensions. 2. Legal violations in international water law.
China's actions in constructing the dam pose significant legal implications as they contravene established international water laws, notably the 1997 Convention on the Law of the Non-Navigational Uses of International Watercourses. The failure to notify or consult with downstream nations such as India and Bangladesh before initiating the project raises serious questions about compliance with international norms. This legal dimension is crucial for in-depth analysis, as it sets the groundwork for potential diplomatic disputes and international legal challenges that could arise from the project. 3. Environmental and seismic risks. The dam's location in a seismically active region presents substantial risks, including potential structural failures that could result in catastrophic flooding downstream. The environmental implications, such as altered sediment flow and impacts on local ecosystems and livelihoods, necessitate thorough examination. Concerns regarding glacier melting and climate change further complicate the situation, as they could exacerbate the ecological consequences of the dam. Analyzing these environmental risks is essential for understanding the broader implications of the Yarlung Zangbo project on regional stability and sustainability. For need for multilateral cooperation, the situation highlights a critical need for multilateral engagement among the countries sharing the Brahmaputra River basin, including India, Bangladesh, and Bhutan. Advocating for a robust international framework that emphasizes environmental assessments, transparent data sharing, and equitable resource management is vital for mitigating the risks posed by China's upstream projects. This point underscores the importance of cooperative governance in managing transboundary water resources and fostering regional stability, making it a key area for further analysis and discussion. 1. The Gabčíkovo-na Jámaros project, Hungary/Slovakia. The Gabčíkovo-na Jámaros project is a significant case of transboundary water management between Hungary and Slovakia. Initiated in the 1970s, the project involved the construction of dams on the Danube River with the aim of generating hydroelectric power and controlling flooding. However, Hungary unilaterally suspended its participation in the project in 1992, citing environmental concerns. The dispute escalated and led to a case before the International Court of Justice (ICJ). The ICJ ruled in 1997 that both countries had obligations under international law to cooperate and engage in environmental impact assessments, emphasizing the need for collaboration in managing shared water resources. This case highlights the complexities of international water law and the potential for conflict when one nation unilaterally alters shared water systems. 2. The Mekong River dams. The construction of dams by China on the Mekong River, known as the Lancang River in China, has raised significant concerns among downstream countries such as Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. China has built several dams that have altered the river's flow, leading to severe droughts and ecological changes in these countries. The situation mirrors the concerns surrounding the Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower station, where upstream control by China affects the water availability and ecological balance in downstream nations. The Mekong case illustrates the impact of unilateral actions by an upper riparian state and the challenges faced by lower riparian states in advocating for their rights and ensuring sustainable water management. 3. The Indus Water Treaty and the Kashmir conflict. The Indus Water Treaty, signed in 1960 between India and Pakistan, governs the use of the Indus River and its tributaries. The treaty was brokered by the World Bank and allocates water resources predominantly to Pakistan, with India retaining rights over eastern tributaries. However, tensions over water distribution have been exacerbated by geopolitical conflicts, particularly in the Kashmir region, where both nations have contested territorial claims. Incidents of water diversion and dam construction by India have led to accusations from Pakistan of violating treaty terms, raising concerns about the potential for conflict. The Indus Water Treaty exemplifies how water management agreements can mitigate disputes, but also how geopolitical tensions can complicate compliance and enforcement, similar to the issues raised by China's Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower station. The strategic implications of China's Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower station extend beyond energy generation, encapsulating a broader narrative of geopolitical maneuvering in South Asia. The project, situated in Tibet, poses significant risks of exacerbating tensions between China, India, and Bangladesh, highlighting the urgent need for multilateral cooperation to address concerns over water rights, environmental impacts,
and regional stability. Future outlook and predictions.
1. Increased geopolitical tensions. The approval and subsequent construction of the Yarlung Zangbo Dam are likely to heighten geopolitical tensions in the region. India and Bangladesh may respond with heightened military readiness and diplomatic efforts to counter China's influence. The situation could lead to a more aggressive posture from both sides, with potential border skirmishes or escalated rhetoric in international forums. 2. Demand for multilateral agreements. The absence of a comprehensive multilateral treaty governing the Brahmaputra River basin may prompt India and Bangladesh to advocate for a binding agreement that ensures equitable water sharing and environmental protections. This could lead to regional summits aimed at establishing a cooperative framework that includes Bhutan and other stakeholders, potentially elevating the issue to a larger international platform such as the United Nations. 3. Legal challenges and international norms. As downstream nations assert their rights under international water law, we might see an increase in legal challenges against China's unilateral actions. India and Bangladesh could pursue diplomatic avenues through international courts or arbitration bodies to assert their claims and seek remedial measures for any transboundary harm caused by the dam.
4. Environmental advocacy and climate change impact. The ecological implications of the dam will likely galvanize environmental advocacy groups in South Asia and globally.
As climate change exacerbates water scarcity and alters hydrological patterns, there may be a stronger push for sustainable development practices and rigorous environmental impact assessments (EIAs) for large-scale infrastructure projects. 5. Technological and strategic innovations. India and Bangladesh may invest in technological innovations to monitor water quality and flow,
enhancing their capacity to respond to changes induced by the dam.
This could include the development of satellite monitoring systems and real-time data sharing platforms to track water levels and predict flooding or drought conditions. 6. Regional cooperation for water security. In response to the challenges posed by the Yarlung Zangbo project, South Asian nations may explore cooperative frameworks that focus on water security and resource management. Initiatives could include joint research projects, data sharing agreements, and collaborative disaster response mechanisms to mitigate the impacts of potential dam failures or environmental degradation.
7. Potential for conflict. While diplomatic efforts may be prioritized, the risk of conflict remains.
Should China utilize its control over the river as leverage in geopolitical disputes, it could lead to a situation where India and Bangladesh feel compelled to take defensive measures, including military options.
Such scenarios could escalate quickly, drawing in external powers and complicating regional dynamics.
8. Public sentiment and nationalism. Public sentiment in India and Bangladesh regarding the dam could influence political discourse and policy decisions. Rising nationalism may lead to increased pressure on governments to take a firmer stance against perceived Chinese aggression, potentially costing diplomatic relations in favor of more confrontational approaches. 9. Broader regional implications. The situation may have ripple effects beyond South Asia. Neighboring countries such as Nepal and Bhutan may reassess their water sharing agreements with China and seek stronger alliances with India and Bangladesh. The overarching theme could be a reconfiguration of regional alliances as countries seek to balance against China's growing influence. 10. Long-term environmental consequences. The long-term environmental consequences of the dam could lead to significant changes in the region's hydrology and biodiversity.
As sediment flow is altered, agricultural productivity in downstream regions could decline,
leading to food security challenges and potential socioeconomic unrest.
Conclusion. The Yarlung Zangbo Hydropower Station represents a pivotal moment in China's hydropower strategy with far-reaching implications for South Asia. The interplay of geopolitical tensions, legal challenges, environmental concerns, and the demand for multilateral cooperation will shape the region's future. Without effective dialogue and collaboration, the potential for conflict looms large, necessitating proactive measures to ensure equitable resource management and regional stability. The coming years will be critical in determining whether South Asian nations can navigate these challenges through diplomacy or if they will be drawn into a cycle of escalation and conflict.